What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Miss Ross. Listen, before I jump into it, you guys make sure you go on over, follow us on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. And don't forget to scan that QR code so you can tune into the station 24/7. All right? We play the hottest indie artists and major artists from the 90s to the 2000s to now. So someone reached out to me in regards to what I thought about trauma bonds. And I'm so happy that this has become a topic because it's something that we don't always talk about. We see a lot of these posts in regards to marriages and divorces and, relationships, that 50-50 thing. I mean, we speak of all the different things that people go through in relationships, but I have not quite heard too many people talk about trauma bonding. And I'm glad that, someone brought it up because I have personally dealt with someone who has a trauma bond. These trauma bonds are serious, and I actually looked into it. I read up on it, and I was blown away in regards to my understanding in this regard as to why people tend to stay in situations that they don't need to be in. Like, they know the situation isn't good for them. They know that this person isn't elevating them. They know that they're not really going to go any further than where they are with this individual. But for some reason, they think that this person is who they're supposed to be with. And that is where the trauma bond comes in. And that's why you find two toxic people not able to break free from one another. Like, they're always seeming to find their way back to that individual. I'm telling you based off of what I went through with a man. And this is a man telling me a situation about a girl that he was involved with. And I'm telling him, based off of my experience, let her go. Let her go. Because she's going to always go back to the same guy who broke her, who abused her, who misused her. God forbid if she has children with him. That's what's going to make it even worse. Because not only is she thinking that she has to be with this individual for the children, history will also play a fact. Even though the history was negative and toxic and unhealthy, it's still going to be a reason why she needs to stay. I feel like I'm a good judge of character, but I have to admit, I did not know anything about trauma bonding. Once I got in that situation, it just started popping up everywhere. Trauma bonds, and this is what it is. And, stay away from people who have a trauma bond to someone. Find out if you are in a trauma bonding situation, because a lot of people are in these relationships and you don't realize that you are, in fact, in a trauma bonding situation. And it's not healthy. And this is why you're not evolving. This is why you're getting nowhere. This is why you get back into these relationships and you find yourself back where you started. Definitely look into trauma bonding. I've never dealt with someone who had a trauma bond to someone until recently. Do your research and find out if you are in fact in this situation, and find out how you can get out of this situation. So this is why it was so easy for me to let my boyfriend go once I realized he had a trauma bond to his baby's mother. So I had already been doing research about it, and I just didn't want to continue wasting my time in that situation because I had already given it a year and a half. And so I had to really let go because it was going to be a situation that I really couldn't see ending no time soon. I personally did not want to stick around to find out. I don't know. I just didn't have that much of my time to give to one individual, especially if I have tried to let them know that this is what this is. Like, I told him, like, you have a trauma bond and you really got to break it, because if not, you're going to find yourself in your 50s doing the same shit, getting nowhere. But hey, some people just don't want to be saved. And that's how I looked at it. And so I told the guy the same thing. I let him know, look, I've been in that situation too. And it doesn't seem like she wants to be saved. So she may get out of that situation one day, but it might not be with you. So just because a person has a trauma bond to somebody, it doesn't mean they're never going to come out of it. It just means that sometimes it doesn't mean they're going to come out in the season that you were trying to build something with them. So it just may not be the right season. Timing is everything. So if you meet somebody and you feel like, wow, this is the person you want to be with, but they are in a trauma bond, same advice that I took for myself. I got the hell on. I let it go. I turned my back completely and I washed my hands of it. You got to let it go. Or you are going to find yourself allowing that individual to continue to waste your time. It is a complete waste of your time, and it doesn't make any sense to go back and forth with anybody's past. If someone is still connected and drawn to their past, leave them right where they are. You pick yourself up and you keep it moving. You move forward. Let them keep going backwards if that's what they want to do. But you don't have time to keep allowing individuals to have you competing with their past. If you are in a trauma bonding situation and you don't seem to understand why you keep finding yourself going backwards to this person that you know is not good for you, research trauma bonding. Go get some help and start trying to break that bond. Let me let you hear an expert talk to you all about trauma bonding.
Trauma bonding can sometimes feel like love because it may be the only connection we've experienced. And I think we can all agree that love is often talked about in a way that's not real or relatable, which is why we can find ourselves in relationships with people and not realize that what we're feeling isn't love. It's actually trauma bonding. My name is Katie Morton and I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. I talk about anxiety, ADHD, eating disorders, and really anything mental health related. Trauma bonding is an unhealthy attachment that we can form with our abuser. This usually happens in toxic or abusive relationships. It most commonly occurs when the relationship we are in follows what's known as a cycle of abuse, meaning that when someone harms us physically, sexually, or emotionally, then, so that's the abuse state, then we move into the next stage, which is called the honeymoon phase. And that's kind of like love bombing. They tell us they love us, they're so sorry, they never meant to hurt us, it won't happen again, they would die without us, and go on and on and on. And this love bombing and manipulation can confuse the person who was abused, and it can make us think that they really didn't mean to hurt us, and they do love us. Now, over time, this cycle of getting hurt and then being told that they love and care for us can lead to us becoming attached to our abuser, even feeling bad for them and feeling deep affection for them, which is why it can be so hard for us to leave. We can also trauma bond as a way to prevent any further abuse from happening to us, just like the fawn response, which, if you're not familiar, is another form of fight, flight, and freeze. But fawning is when we people please so that they won't hurt us again. And it's really our attempt at taking control back from our abuser in order to protect ourselves. Since trauma bonding can often be confused with love, let's jump into the 5 signs that what we're experiencing is in fact trauma bonding and not love. Number 1, we are enmeshed, meaning that there aren't any healthy boundaries in our relationship. How they feel is how we feel. And we can find ourselves putting their needs above our own, and needing them to make decisions for us, or at least weighing in on them. We can even struggle to do things on our own, see our own friends, and focus on our own personal growth. Number 2 is if they have ever abused us. Even if they said it wouldn't happen again, or gave excuses for why they did it. I was really tired, I had a bad day, Healthy relationships have mutual respect and are physically and emotionally safe. If you don't have those things in your relationship, you may want to consider ending that relationship. Number 3, we are codependent. Codependency happens a lot in relationships where addiction is present because one person is the addict and the other person is addicted to caring for them. In this case, we can feel that our only purpose or the only way that we are deserving of love is if we care for the other person, even when it puts us in danger. We can feel like our only value is in being the caretaker or the fixer, and this can allow the person to keep doing what they do. When it comes to trauma bonds specifically, we can want the relationship to continue at any cost because our identity can be wrapped up in them. Or we can think so little of ourselves that we believe we aren't anything without them. And so we do what we need to do to keep them happy. Number 4, they don't like us seeing our friends or family. If someone ever tries to tell you that your friends or family are bad for you, they don't deserve you, or they act upset when you make time to see them, get out of there. Sure, I know, we can have one friend or a family member that isn't the best, or maybe they've said hurtful things. We should never feel like we can't have our own life and see people on our own. A huge component of narcissistic abuse is that they try to isolate us from everyone else so that they have complete control and we don't have a way out. You should feel free to have your own life and you just enjoy having them in it. And finally, number 5 is gaslighting. Does your partner constantly tell you that you remembered something wrong or that you're crazy? That's not how it happened. Or do they deny or try to minimize the pain that they've caused you? Or maybe they even try to tell you that it was your fault. This is a form of manipulation and can cause us to attach even more tightly to our abuser because we don't think we can trust our own mind or memory. We can all forget things from time to time, sure. But if they are consistently putting us down, telling us that we're making things up, it's possible you're being gaslit. I know it can be hard to know what love looks like, especially if we've been in an abusive relationship or have past trauma. But remember, loving relationships allow us to be ourselves, have our own life, and enjoy the addition of another person in it. It is supportive, respectful, and encourages us to do more of what we love. Healthy relationships have clear boundaries, open communication, and trust. If we only get affection and kind words after we've been hurt, you may want to rethink your relationship because it could be trauma bonding, not love. If any of this sounds like your relationship, please find a trauma therapist in your area or online. The sooner we start talking to someone about this, the sooner we will feel able to leave and heal from the abuse. Know that you are all deserving of real love and support, and don't settle for less.
Well, all right. There you guys have it. You heard it from an expert. It is not something I'm pulling out of my ass, all right? It is an experience that I have had recently. Not that I was in a trauma bonding situation, but remember, I was involved with someone who's in a trauma bonding situation. So it's really not good for the person who's in it, and it's not good for the person who is trying to date someone who is in it. Listen, let it go. Get out of it. However you need to break this bond, you need to break it because you're going nowhere. Do not continue to waste your time in these situations. Want more for yourself, want better for yourself, and just push yourself to get the hell out of these situations because it is not love. All right? It's not love. Thank you so much for always tuning in to my show. Y'all already know where I be. WMRR Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Follow us across social media. Y'all already know we outside. Okay? We're here. WMRR Radio, Miami and Atlanta's new #1 for music, news, and talk.